On the one hand, quite simply and in a way that you cannot presently understand, evil does not exist. However, you are obviously confronted with what seems to be quite evil effects. Now, it has been said often that there is a God, so there must be a devil, or if there is good, there must be evil. This is like saying that because an apple has a top, it must have a bottom, but without any understanding of the fact that both are a portion of the apple. We go back to our fundamentals. You create reality through your feelings, thoughts, and mental actions. Some of these are physically materialized, others are actualized in probable systems. You are presently with an endless series of choices, it seems, at any point, some more or less favorable than others. You must understand that each mental act is a reality for which you are responsible. That is what you are in this particular system of reality for. As long as you believe in a devil, for example, you will create one that is real enough for you and for the others who continue to create him. Because of the energy he is given by others, he will have a certain consciousness of his own. But such a mock devil has no power or reality to those who do not believe in his existence, and who do not give him energy through their belief. He is, in other words, a superlative hallucination. As mentioned earlier, those who believe in a hell and assign themselves to it through their belief can indeed experience one, but certainly in nothing like eternal terms. No soul is forever ignorant. Now, those who have such beliefs actually lack a necessary deep trust in the nature of consciousness of the soul and of all that is. They concentrate upon not what they think of as the power of good, but fearfully upon what they think of as the power of evil. The hallucination is created, therefore, out of fear and of restriction. The devil ideal is merely the mass projection of certain fears, mass in that it is produced by many people, but also limited in that there have always been those who rejected this principle. Some very old religions understood the hallucinatory nature of the devil concept, but even in Egyptian times, the simpler and more distorted ideas became prevalent, particularly with the masses of people. In some ways, men in those times could not understand the concept of a God without a concept of a devil. Storms, for example, are highly creative natural events, though they can also cause destruction. Early man could see only the destruction. Some intuitively understood that any effects are creative, despite their appearances, but few could convince their fellow men. The light and darkness contrast presents us with the same kind of picture. The good was seen as light, for men felt safer in the day. The evil was therefore assigned to nightfall. Within the mass of distortions, however hidden beneath the dogma, there was always a hint of the basic creativity of every effect. There are, then, no devils waiting to carry anyone off, unless you create them for yourself, in which case the power resides in you and not in the mock devils. The crucifixion and attendant drama made sense within your reality at the time. It arose into the world of physical actuality out of the inner reality, from which your deepest intuitions and insights also spring. The race brought forth the events, then, that would best convey in physical terms this deeper non-physical knowledge of the indestructibility of the soul. This particular drama would not have made sense to other systems with different root assumptions than your own. The symbolism of ascent or descent, or of light and dark, would be meaningless to other realities with different perspective mechanisms. While your religions are built around an enduring kernel of truth, the symbolism used was craftily selected by the inner self in line with its knowledge of those root assumptions you hold as valid in the physical universe. Other information in dreams, for example, will also be given to you with the same symbolism, generally speaking. The symbolism itself, however, was simply used by the inner self. It does not inherently belong to inner reality. Many probable systems have perceptive mechanisms far different from your own. In fact, some are based upon just states of awareness completely alien to you. Quite without realizing it, your ego is a result of group consciousness, for example, the one consciousness that most directly faces the exterior world is dependent upon the minute consciousness that resides within each living cell of your body. And as a rule, you are only aware of one ego, at least at a time. In some systems, the individual is quite aware of having more egos than one, in your terms. The entire psychological organization is in a way richer than your own. A Christ who was not aware of this would not appear in such a system, you see. There are kinds of perception with which you are not familiar, worlds in which your ideas of light does not exist, where almost infinite gradations of thermal qualities are absorbed in terms of sensation, not of light. In any of these worlds, the Christ drama could never appear as it appeared within your own. Now, the same thing applies to each of your great religions, though, as I have said in the past, the Buddhists come closer, generally speaking, to a description of the nature of reality. They have not understood the eternal validity of the soul, however, in terms of its exquisite invulnerability, nor been able to hold a feeling for its unique character. But Buddha, like Christ, interpreted what he almost knew in terms of your own reality, not only of your own physical reality, but your own probable physical reality. The secret methods behind all of the religions were meant to lead man into a realm of understanding that existed apart from the symbols and the stories, into inner realizations that would take him both within and without the physical world that he knew. There are many manuscripts still not discovered, from old monasteries, particularly in Spain, that tell of underground groups within religious orders who kept these secrets alive when other monks were copying old Latin manuscripts. There were tribes who never learned to write in Africa and Australia, who also knew these secrets, and men called speakers who memorized them and spread them upward, even throughout northern portions of Europe before the time of Christ. Offhand, the work involved could take 5 years, for there were several versions and a group of leaders, each going in different directions, who taught their people. The world was far more ripe for Christianity than people suppose because of these groups. The ideas were buried already throughout Europe. Many important concepts were lost, however. The emphasis was on practical methods of living, quite simply, rules that could be understood, but the reason for them were forgotten. The Druids obtained some of their concepts from speakers, so did the Egyptians. The speakers predated the emergence of any religions that you know, and the religions of the speakers arose spontaneously in many scattered areas, then grew like wildfire from the heart of Africa and Australia. There was one separate group in an area where the Aztecs dwelled at a later date, though the landmass was somewhat different then, and some of the lower cave dwellings at times were underwater. Various bands of the speakers continued throughout the centuries because they were trained so well, the messages retained their authenticity. They believed, however, that it was wrong to set words into written form, and so did not record them. They also